Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to add this dark green step to your equation solving steps. Up until this point, we've done the distributive property, combining like terms, and then we jumped down to zero pairing an extra constant. And now we're adding the step here in the middle, which is to zero pair the extra variable. This step will only be used if you finish combining like terms and you see a variable on both sides. So for example, here's a variable, but then there's also an x on the other side of the equation. And remember, I can't add 3x and 2x. I can't combine like terms because I have the line going through the equal sign, and you can't take things from one side and something from the other side and add those together. You just can't do that. Remember, you can't cross that line. So if you look at the second example, I have just a variable on one side without a constant, but then I've got a variable with a constant on the other side. Same thing here. So the question becomes, well, if I can't take this 3x and 2x and add them together, what do I do? Because I don't want the end of my equation to say x equals x. This is not what I want. I want x equals a number. So I want only one x, not two. And the solution is to zero pair one of them out. In order to eliminate one of those variables so that you only have one left, you will choose one to zero pair, just like we do with the constants. Just like positive 5 and negative 5 make 0, positive 5x and negative 5x make 0. So if we were to see, this equation and we would make a negative 5 and zero pair it, I could also zero pair a variable. Like I could do this. 2x minus 2x is 0. And then over here I would do my subtraction, and now I only have one x left. I'm going to show you a bunch of examples of how to do this. It's really quite simple once you figure it out. So here's what it looks like. We're going to go through our steps like normal. I'm going to do my distributive property, which is right here. Remember, you look for the parentheses. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 4 is 8. Bring down the plus 2x. Bring down the stuff on the other side. Even though I see this right here, I see all these x's, I'm going to go in order of my steps. I'm not going to jump ahead or panic about anything. Now I'm going to combine like terms. On the left side, I have two x's that I can combine. I cannot circle this one because it's on the other side of the line, so I'm going to leave that alone for right now. 4x plus 2x is 6x, and I'm going to have plus 8. I'm going to, over here, if I try to box and circle, I only have one of each. They're not like terms, so I have to keep both of them. Now I can look for the extra variable. Only do this if you've already done the first two steps, okay? So I see that I have a 6x on one side and a 2x on the other side. So I'm going to zero pair one of those. Now you can actually choose whichever one you want. You could subtract 6x on both sides like that. Or you could, I'm going to take the other line away, or you could subtract 2x on both sides. It is your choice, but if you like working with positive numbers instead of negative numbers, you should always zero pair the smaller one. So thinking about a number line, which one is smaller, 2 or 6? 2 is smaller, so zero pair the 2x. What's going to happen is over here, when you do your math, 6x minus 2x, you're going to get a positive x. If you zero pair the larger one, you would end up with a negative, okay? And then at this point, that's this. Now we're going to finish off the problem like normal. Now I'm going to zero pair my extra constant. So what we're doing in these problems is we're doing two zero pairs in a row. Zero pairing a variable, zero pairing a constant. Divide, and you get your final answer. Okay? Now it's very important when you're zero pairing to put the variable underneath the other variable. So for example, 2x minus 2x to cross out, but you need this 2x to be under here. You can't put it here. I can't do 8 minus 2x. Why not? Those are not like terms. It has to go underneath the other x. Remember, you can only add and subtract x's with x's, constants with constants. Okay? Let's look at several more examples. We're actually starting right now puzzle 213. So I'm going to go through actually 7 problems. So if you were absent today, or you're absent the day that we did this, I'm going to show you the answers to these problems. You can work them along with me if you like. Okay, let me turn back into blue. So just like always, I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to look for distributive property, and here it is. 4 times 2n is 8n, and 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Bring down the other side. Distributive property done. I'm going to look for my like terms. On the left side, I have one variable and one constant. Those are not like terms. On the right side, I have one variable and one constant. Those are not like terms. So we actually don't have this step. Let's look for an extra variable. One on the left, one on the right. Yep, I have an extra variable. So I'm going to zero pair one of them, and I'm going to choose to zero pair the smaller one, which is the 3n. So underneath there, I'm not going to write minus 3. I need to zero pair the whole thing, the 3n. On the other side, I'm going to find the variable, and I'm going to also subtract 3n, not just 3. Remember, you can't do 8n minus 3. They're not like terms. N has to go with n, right? So you have to make sure that you include the n there. This pair zero pairs out. 8n minus 3n is 5n. Bring down the minus 20. Bring down the 10. Now, instead of 2 variables, we only have 1. Now we're going to zero pair our extra constant, which is this minus 20. I'm going to do plus 20. And I'm going to get 5n equals 30. And now I'm going to divide by 5. N is equal to 6. All right, so the answer to problem D is 6. Let's look at problem L. L is very similar to the one we just did. So start at the top, distributive property. I have that right here. 2 times 4x is 8x. 2 times 7 is 14. On the other side, just bring down what you have. I'm going to look for like terms. On the left side, I have one variable and one constant. Those are not like terms. On the right side, I have one variable and one constant. Those are not like terms. So I'm actually going to skip this step. I'm going to look for an extra variable. I have an x on the left and I have an x on the right. So yes, I have an extra one. There's 2 and I only want 1. So I'm going to zero pair 1. I'm going to choose the smaller one, which is the 2x, and I'm going to, since it's positive, I'm going to subtract it. On the other side, I'm going to write minus 2x, not minus 2, minus 2x. 8x minus 2x is 6x. Bring down the plus 14, bring down the negative 4. Extra variable is now gone. Zero pair my extra constant. I have a plus 14 here. I'm going to do a minus 14. 6x equals negative 18. And then I'm going to divide by 6. And x is equal to negative 3. Okay? So the whole problem is the same except for this one extra step right here to get rid of one of those variables. Let's take a look at the next one. I think that if you're feeling confident, you should pause this video, try this problem, and then come back and see if my answer matches yours. All right, we're back. First thing we're going to do is look for the distributive property. I see the parentheses right here. Remember that k really means 1k. So 8 times 1k is 8k. 8 times 3 is 24. Bring down the other side. I still don't have like terms. On the left, I have a k and a constant. On the right side, I have a k and a constant. So still no like terms. But I do have 2 variables. There's a k on the left and a k on the right. We're going to eliminate the smaller one. And in this case, it's the 8k. So since this is a plus, I'm going to do minus. And on the other side, I'm going to write the same thing. Not just minus 8, minus 8k. These 2 zero pair out. The 24 comes down. 12 minus 8 is 4, so this is 4k minus 4. Now I'm looking for my extra constant. Up until now, the extra constant has always been on the left side, but this 24 is not the extra. The negative 4 is the extra. Remember, you look for your variable, and then you look for the constant that's on the same side with it. So this negative 4 is the one that we want to zero pair out. 28 equals 4k. Divide by 4. K equals 7. Okay, there you go. Hopefully you got the same thing I did. Let's go to the next one. This problem is just like those other ones, so right now why don't you pause the video, work this out, and then start it up again to see if my answer matches yours. All right, we're going to do the distributive property, which is right here with the parentheses. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Negative 3 times negative 9v is positive 27v. Remember to watch out for your negatives. On the left side, I have a variable and a constant. Those are not like terms. On the right side, I have a variable and a constant, also not like terms, so there's nothing to combine. But I do have an extra variable. I have a variable on the left and a variable on the right. I'm going to zero pair the smaller one. So since 7 is smaller than 27, I'm going to subtract 7v, subtract 7v. I'm going to bring down my negative 15. 27 minus 7 is 20. And I'm going to bring down my 25. This pair is gone. Now I'm going to zero pair my extra constant. Here's the variable, so the extra constant is the negative 15. I'm going to do positive 15. There's the zero pair. Bring down the 20v, and 25 plus 15 is 40. Divide by 20, v equals 2. And hopefully you got my same answer. Let's look at the next one. This is actually the exact same type of problem, just the distributive property is on the right instead of the left. So go ahead and pause the video, work this one out, and then start it up again to see if my answer matches yours. For the distributive property, we're going to multiply right here. That means the 6x plus 4 is coming down because right now I'm not doing anything with it. 5 times 3x is 15x, and 5 times 8 is 40. Looking for like terms on the left, I have a variable and a constant, no like terms. On the right, I have a variable and a constant, no like terms. So once again, we are skipping this step. We're going to look for an extra variable. On the left, I have one, and I also have one on the right. So yes, there is an extra, and we're going to zero pair one of those. I'm going to zero pair the 6 because it's the smaller one. So since that's a positive 6x, we're going to do minus 6x on both sides. There's your zero pair. Bring down your 4. 15x minus 6x is 9x. Bring down the plus 40. I'm going to zero pair my extra constant. Here's my variable. That means the 40 is the extra constant. And since it's a plus 40, I'm going to subtract. 4 minus 40 is negative 36 equals 9x. My coefficient is 9. Remember, it's the number with the variable that you want to divide by. And x is equal to negative 4. Hopefully your answer was the same as mine. And let's go to the next one. Again, this problem is the same as the others. Go ahead and pause the video, try to work this one out, come back with me, and we'll see if you get what I get. Distributive property is right here. So I'm going to bring down 5 minus 11t. And on this side, I'm going to multiply. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times negative 2t is negative 14t. Let me look for like terms. On the left, I have a variable and a constant, no like terms. On the right, I have a variable and a constant, no like terms, so we can skip this step. Do I see an extra variable? I have a t on the left and a t on the right, so yes, I do. I want to zero pair the smaller one. Think carefully. What's smaller? Negative 11, because remember this is a negative, or negative 14? Think about your number line. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. The farther you go to the left, the smaller you get, which really means that the negative 14 is the smaller number. Now, what would happen if you accidentally zero paired the larger one? Nothing. You'll get the same answer at the end, your problem just won't look exactly like mine until you get there. So I'm going to add 14t. There's my zero pair. Now, negative 11 plus 14 is positive 3. Now I'm going to zero pair my extra constant. Here's the variable, which means that 5 is the extra constant. That's a positive 5. I need to minus 5. 3t equals 30. Divide by 3, and t is equal to 10. If you zero paired the negative 11t, you would have the same answer at the end, except it would look like this. It just would be backwards, but you should still get the exact same answer. Let's take a look at one more. Go ahead and pause the video, try this problem, and then start it back up to see if you get the same thing as me. All right, for distributive property, we're right here. Negative 2 times 18 is negative 36. Negative 2 times negative 3y is positive 6y. Bring down the other side. On the left, I do not have like terms. I have a y and I have a constant. But on the right, I do have like terms. I have two variables, and they can be added together. So I'm going to bring this stuff down, and I'm going to simplify right here. 7y plus 2y is 9y. Now, do I have an extra variable? Well, there's a y on the left and a y on the right, so yes, I do. I'm going to zero pair the smaller one, and since 6 is the smaller one, I'm going to subtract 6y. Negative 36 equals 3y. Now, do I have an extra constant? Actually, I don't. Here's my variable, and there's nothing here with it. So I do not need to zero pair the extra constant. I can skip that step. But I will divide my coefficient. Here's the y. The coefficient is 3. So on all these problems, you start at the top and you go down step by step. Some steps you will have and some steps you won't. But if you just check at each one, do I have this? Do I have this? Then you'll know if you can skip a step or if you have to do it. Okay? And that, my friends, is how you solve equations with variables on both sides.